Back on the MSG 150 at home, presented by Chase, Bill Pito, Monica McNutt, Alan Hahn, and look who it is, our buddy, Anson Carter, one of our Rangers studio analysts. Anson, it is so great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you guys, too. I wish I knew it was Casual Tuesdays, BP. I ought to put on my Under Armour, too. I put on a collared shirt out of respect for Monica and Alan and yourself, but I see we're not all following the same rules, apparently.
Am I too casual? Is that the issue?
Yes. Very casual.
Let's go.
Well,
trying to win Emmys around here.
Pito has a rotation of athletic half zips that he has swapped out for all of his.
Hey, Monica, we clearly didn't get the memo either to go buy our Emmys and put them on our mantles behind us like Alan and Bill have. So we need to go out and buy some of those too, like what those guys did.
It'd be neat if your work, Anson, would be worthy of an Emmy win. Okay.
You know you made that with your extra pandemic time, Pito. Stop playing.
I saw Emmys on Amazon for $1.99, so I don't want to hear it, BP.
I got mine for $1.50.
Amazon Prime overnight.
Anson, to more serious matters, you have been instrumental in the making of a video with some of the most prominent names in the game of hockey. Tell us about what motivated you to do that and what the response has been.
It was great, though. The response in and out of the hockey community has been fabulous. And the reason why I made the video is because why has George Floyd become so popular, that death that was unfortunate we all saw? It's because of video. You know, in the Black community, we've heard about this stuff happening time and time again, but there wasn't any video proof. So it was important for me to put something out, not just a statement, because I've seen people's statements and think, oh, that guy didn't write that. It could be a PR company. I wanted people to see my face, my lips, and hear my voice, and also include people in the hockey community saying exactly the same thing, so no one would say, well, it would have been great if you had this guy, or it would have been even better if you had this woman, or this person. But no, I included everyone in that video that had Stanley Cup champions, there was Isabel champions, you had Hall of Famers, like you name it, black, white, male, female, and even my kids were in there, so that was important.
I heard you on a podcast, Anson, talking about how you very rarely include your kids in that kind of stuff. But when you look at the response to your video, what makes you most proud or hopeful?
Well, the fact that they participated, and that was a big thing that stuck out to a lot of people, that the fact that I did put my girls in there, because I try to keep my family separate from my professional life or my social media life. Just don't want to expose them, but it is also important for people to understand that having conversations with young people is very important. It starts with them, because when I played the game, whenever kids called me any racial slurs, it affected me, but not really, because sticks and stones may break my bones, and it just motivated me to score more goals. But when I had parents hanging over the glass yelling at me, or coaches yelling those same things at me, that's what had the negative effect, because my parents always taught us that adults should know better.
There's no question about that. As a sports parent, not just as an athlete, these things that you see that you want to call out, that's certainly one of them that you want to do that about. And this is a time, obviously, where there's a lot of social conscience happening in the world, and for athletes to return to sport, that is sort of becoming a bit of a topic here in the NBA side of things. You're seeing NBA players sort of hesitating now, not just about concerns about COVID-19, but also about that message that is out there right now, because there isn't sports to distract us, that they feel like if we return to play, will that take the attention and the focus off of what we're trying to do? Are you seeing the same thing maybe on the NHL side from some hockey players that might be thinking the same thing, whether it's concerns about COVID-19 and it's still out there, or also the fact that there's a message that is going on right now in our world that you don't want to play and take attention away from?
No, I think I'm seeing a little bit of both, Alan. I think I'm seeing some players that don't want to play, but I'm seeing a lot of players that do want to go back and play, and they want to get back to the game, and they're trusting the medical people that know more than what they would know. And I don't think it would take away from the movement that we're seeing right now in society. I think we're seeing a lot of people coming together of all races, which I think is important. And as an athlete, especially when you have more hockey players speaking up, when you're playing, you've got an even bigger platform. Like, I've got a pretty decent platform now that I'm retired, but it doesn't even compare to what it was when I played. So when they're back playing the game and the attention's back on the sports, and guys want to talk about this stuff, in addition to what's happening around the game too, I think that'll bring more meaning and more attention to what's happening, because even though players are focused on playing, you can only play your sport for a couple hours a day. You have to live the other 24, 22 hours a day of your life. So that's never going to fall to the background, I don't think, at least not right now.
Anson, specifically about the NHL's return to play structure, what do you think about it?
I think it's great. I think it gives big market teams like the Chicago Blackhawks and the New York Rangers an opportunity to get back in it. That's what we need from a TV point of view. We want to have as many teams as possible get back in, so you have as many hockey fans as possible tune in and watch games. And it's almost like March Madness. I played college hockey in Michigan State. I love Coach Izzo and the basketball team there. So it's a similar kind of feel where it's going to be like a 2-month sprint. And really, it just depends on who gets hot at the right time. If you have a young team and you can find your legs quickly, you've got an opportunity. If you're an old team, you could manage those ups and downs and not get rattled. You've got an opportunity too, because you're not asking older players to compete for 82 games. You're saying put those hard hats on and compete for 2 months, and you have a chance to win a championship.
But what about the right now, Anson? If you were still on a team before we get to late summer, when we get the league restarted, get it back going, I mean, we've seen basketball guys that barely have hoops at their homes. Surely hockey guys don't have rinks at their homes. How are you staying locked in, engaged, and prepared and ready for things to get going later?
It can be tough, Monica, because nothing could really be the same as skating. But I know a lot of teams, I know a lot of agents have sent their players slide boards where you slide back and forth. And I did slide board training when I was in California back when I played, and that really blasts your groins and gets your groins really ready to play once you start skating again. But there's a lot of players that also don't really skate much during the summertime. So there's the guys in Europe that have that advantage, or guys in Florida have that advantage. But it really only takes a couple of weeks. You get a couple of weeks of good, solid skating under your belt, you're back up and running in no time.
Think about the concept of ice in Las Vegas in late July and August. And that's where the Islanders and Rangers are going to be. Now, as I've mentioned before on the show, I told Valley I went to an ice bar in Vegas where it's made of blocks of ice, and even the glasses are ice. They just throw them in water when you're done with them. So that concept can be done. I've been there for NBA Summer League. But still, it's going to be different. No fans, no crowd, and across the country. But for the Islanders and Rangers, what opportunity awaits for them in Vegas?
First of all, Alan, I'm not surprised you're talking bar and valley, okay? Those two things run hand in hand. But on a more serious note, like I was in Vegas during a couple of years ago, the Stanley Cup Finals, when Vegas was playing against the Washington Capitals, and it was sizzling. There isn't much difference between June in Vegas and July in Vegas. It's just hot, and even hotter. So I think the technology in the arenas is, I think, advanced enough that the ice might not be perfect, but it's going to be well enough to be able to control NHL games and have guys play out there without that being an issue. Not having fans would be a little bit weird. I mean, ask the Florida Panthers how they get along without having fans for most of their games. There's a great opportunity, I think, for players to get mic'd up, and you can hear exactly what's happening during the course of the game, or even VR. I love virtual reality. I use my Oculus headset all the time. So why not set up some VR cameras on the bench or in the stands someplace where you have the ability to give fans that unique perspective that you might not have been able to give them in the past because there's people in those seats.
Anson, all week long, we're celebrating the Rangers Cup win from '94. Obviously, a young team here that's going to play the Hurricanes in the qualifying round. They've had tremendous success over the years against Carolina. David Quinn's young team really playing well before the suspension of play. How do you see the series?
I like the Rangers, and it really comes down to the goaltending. I've got more faith in the Rangers goaltending, whether it's Georgiev, Shesterkin, or even Henrik, versus whoever the Carolina Hurricanes put inside their blue paint. Because I really believe, especially early, it's going to come down to goaltending. Because you watch hockey in the beginning of the season, in the Octobers and Novembers, teams don't have their defensive systems in place yet. And if you get that solid goaltending early, that gives you an opportunity to make those key saves and not give up those crappy goals that deflate your hockey club. So I like the Rangers. If Mika could really regain that form that we saw last year, I thought he was one of the best players in the league. He was on his way to scoring 50 goals if we played a full 82-game schedule. The bread man, I thought he was amazing too. If they could find someone to supplement them, if Kaapo Kakko maybe elevates his game a little bit, they're going to be okay. But I like their back end too. They're mobile, they're young, they're fast. So I like the Rangers in that series.
Anson, one of my favorite things about doing shows from home are our backgrounds. And do I see action figures of one Anson Carter behind you?
Yes, you do, Monica. Action figures. There might not be Amazon Emmys behind there, but I've got two action figures. One's the New York Rangers, one's the Boston Bruins. So there was some good that came out of my hockey career. I'm still working on that post-career thing right now, too.
Well, we love that your post-career thing includes working with us, Anson. It's so great to see you.
Great to see you guys, too. Hope you guys continue to stay healthy and safe. and go Rangers.
Up next on the MSG 150 at Home presented by Chase, what should the reaction be when a well-known professional athlete tests positive for COVID-19? We'll discuss coming up after.